Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video I'm going to be talking about my birth story. So when I was pregnant with Evie I had gestational diabetes. So when I was 34 weeks pregnant, I think it was, they said that I would have to be induced at 37 weeks. So I went in on the Saturday at 9 o'clock in the morning to be induced. I was then induced at around about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Me and Scott actually sat there playing Connect 4, and we brought some board games in with us because we thought we might be there a long time. So yeah, we were playing those. It was actually on his birthday as well, bless him. And I didn't actually have Evie until 5:15 in the morning on Tuesday morning. So it was a pretty long time. So yes, they induced me, and after around 2 hours, I would say, I started having contractions at 2 minutes apart. So it was bam, straight in. I was told that they'd probably start around about 10 minutes apart, so you can imagine my surprise. 2 minutes apart. I'd practiced all hypnobirthing, everything, and it just all went out the window when the contractions started that close together. I was so, it was just a shock to the system, I think. I expected them to be further apart, and I wasn't ready for how it would feel as well. But thank God Scott was there. He sort of calmed me down and said, just remember your hypnobirthing. As soon as I got into that rhythm, I was a lot calmer, and I could handle it a lot better. Anyway, so this went on for a good few hours, and they gave me some paracetamols to dull the pain. That didn't really do much at all. And I had a TENS machine as well, so I put that on. That was really good. I would really recommend having a TENS machine if you've not tried hypnobirthing and you don't want to do any drugs or anything like that. Then go for a TENS machine because they're really good. I also had my birthing ball as well, which was really, it was a really nice position to sit in and just to bounce. It just kind of chilled you out that bit more as well. So yes, this went on for a good few hours. I then the contractions went further apart, so they started to go at 5 minutes apart, because I don't know if it was because I'd calmed myself, that then the baby, you know, it all sort of settled itself down a bit. But yeah, I went to 5 minutes apart with the contractions, and this went on for quite a few hours. They then decided I was having a bit of a reaction to the pessary, so I think that's how you say it. So they actually took it out. They had to leave it then for a good few hours. I think it was around about 12 hours. So I went and had a bath, all of that. Thought, they said the waters might break, you know, without putting it back in again. They didn't. They had to. So the first time it went in, it was absolutely fine. It was just like putting a tampon in, you know, it's nothing, it didn't hurt. So I've had to pick this little munchkin up because she is a little bit tired, isn't she? Yes. Yes, so the second time that they put it in, I screamed. It really, really hurt. Now, I don't know if it was because of swelling. I'm not sure, but it really, really was painful. And it was painful when they'd finally got it in, Am I boring you? I'm sorry, baby. Am I boring you, am I? Yes. Oh, we're boring her. So yeah, it was painful when it was going in. And it was still painful when it was in. So in the end I said, just they need to take it out. Scott, I need this out. It needs to come out. It just needs to come out. It's not doing anything. I knew that it was wrong for my body. There was something not right, you know. You know in yourself when something feels natural and right. I mean, being induced was the worst thing for me because I wanted to do everything naturally. I couldn't have the water birth at home that I so desperately wanted because I had gestational diabetes. And, you know, you just know when something doesn't feel right inside. So they took it out, and as soon as they took it out, my waters burst. And now my waters burst, but with every contraction thereafter, it was still wet. So I was still I was like a watering can, to be quite honest with you. It just kept coming. So finally I get transferred up to the labour ward, and once I was up there, all of the natural birth that I so desperately wanted, everything like that, just went out the window. The doctor came in to take my blood, to do my blood pressure, and it was very high. He was concerned, and the gas and air wasn't doing it for me. So he said, well, I was fine on it, but he was concerned about my blood pressure. So he wanted me to have an epidural, which I did. So I had tubes coming out of me everywhere. I had loads because I had throughout my pregnancy I had high platelets, which I have got anyway. They don't know the reason for this. I've had blood test after blood test. I've just got high platelets. It's just how I am. So with that, there can be inflammation somewhere in my body, which is what the blood tests keep coming back as. Anyway, beside the point. So I had to be on antibiotics during this. So I had to have a tube for my antibiotics. I had to have all different tubes. I can't even remember what they were for, to be honest. I was just sat there with these tubes hanging out of me. My mum was there at the time. She said that was the most awful thing, just seeing all these tubes coming out of me. So I had my birth partners were my mum and Scott, and so yes, they gave me an epidural, and then after a few more hours, which was horrible because I felt like when I had the epidural, it's like you can't feel anything down there. You know, it's like, what's going on with my body? You know, I can't feel the rhythm. I can't feel the flow. You know. Anyway, she just wasn't coming. Evie was just chilling, sitting back, relaxing. Oh, it's lovely summer life, like she is now. She's just sitting, chilling, and relaxing. And she didn't want to come out, did you, Boo Boo? It's too early for you. So they then said I had to have cesarian. So they got me prepped and everything for the cesarian. I went down to the operating theatre, laid out on the bed, had all the staff introduced to me, the delivery team and everything. And then an emergency cesarian section comes in, and I am sidelined. So I am laying on this bed, freezing cold. My teeth were chattering at this point. They had to get a blanket for me. I was so cold for 2 hours. So not only had I been in labour for the past 2 and a bit days, two and a half days, 3 days, whatever. 2.5 days. Oh my God. I now had to wait another 2 hours on the operating table to have my cesarian section. So anyway, finally comes that I have my cesarian section. Fantastic, brilliant. You literally, all you feel is the tugging. Brilliant, perfect. She's born. I can hold my child. Wonderful. She actually had Scott hold her first of all, because I really wanted that. We go back to the room that I was in, and they're told I can only have an hour with her, and then she has to go down to the neonatal ward, because I was on antibiotics. I had the high platelets and everything, all of that. They've got to give Evie a drip for antibiotics to make sure she hasn't got an infection because of me having the high platelets. Which was just awful, because I just wanted my baby with me. This went on for... anyway, I'll tell you that in a second. So it was wonderful, and I had a cuddle, and Scott had a cuddle, and Mum had a cuddle, and after that she went down to the neonatal ward. I told Scott to go with her because I didn't want her to be alone going in there. So that was the Tuesday, and then I didn't actually have, I was then put down back on the ward, and I couldn't have Evie with me because there were no beds available for me and with Evie, because she was wired up to the antibiotics. She also had a milk feed going through her nose, so I had to be apart from my little girl, which was really, really upsetting for me. I was in a ward with other mothers that all had their babies with them, and I didn't actually get my little girl with me until the Thursday evening. I went home on the Friday, and the midwives all said, oh, you can go and see her anytime you want, you know, and all of this. But that should have been my real bonding time with her. I should have had her beside me in the bed, you know. It was just heartbreaking to see all these other mothers in the ward with their babies, and my little girl was down on the neonatal ward, and I had to go and visit her whenever I wanted to see her. Sorry, it still upsets me now. But yeah, so and I'd had a cesarian as well, so the first day they said, right, we're going to get you out of bed. I tell you what, I made it my mission to be able to stand and walk as soon as I could, so that I could get down and see my baby girl. I did it, and I was down there straight away to go and see her. But yeah, that was heartbreaking to be apart from her after all of that. So that's my birth story, and she's now a beautiful, happy, healthy little girl, and she's just sitting, playing with her toys, and she's wonderful. Oh, I'm so blessed. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope you subscribe. Please do hit like if you like this video, and give me any comments. Thank you. Bye bye.